Oh, good morning, YouTube. How are you? Good to see ya. And good morning, Live Me. Good to see you. We are over 30 people, so it is time to officially start the stream already. So let me go grab my guitar. Sorry, I'm running a few minutes behind today. I slept in a little bit. I slept in. I hung out with a buddy last night. We were having a good old time. That's the story. That's the extent of the story. That's all I got. That's it. We were just me and a buddy, had a good time, and the rest is history. All right, let me grab my guitar. We'll do the theme song. This show has officially begun. Yeah. What up, everybody? Get your news on with Ron. Wanna know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Wanna know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah. We create me an article at Ron Placone. Go through it together. We'll take it all. Get your news on with Ron. Wanna know what's going on? Getting our news on today. Whoa, yeah! Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means you guys tweet me articles at Ron Placone, and that's how we build the show. I don't have anything pre-planned. I don't know what we're going to talk about. I don't even know what's going on in the world because I just woke up like 20 minutes ago. I slept in this morning because I was hanging out with a buddy, my buddy Will Spotted Bear, who's in town from Minneapolis. He's a very funny comedian. He did his television debut Sunday night. I got to go there for the shooting, got to hang out with him. It was a fun time. Last night, he came out to a show that I had in Santa Monica. We hung out after. It was a fun time. I invited him to a bar after because he was staying out near my neighborhood. So I said, why don't we just meet up at my neighborhood at a bar I like? And we've been friends for a couple years now. I never noticed that he does not drink. I never knew that. So we get to the bar, and he's just like, yeah, I'll have a Coke. I was like, oh, you trying to? And he's like, I don't drink, man. I haven't drank in years. I was like, I didn't fucking know it was a bar about it. He's like, no, I can hang. And I was like, all right. So I just proceeded to match him in beverages, except he was drinking Coke. I was drinking whiskey. It was a fun night. So, yeah. Anyway, and it is freezing here, by the way. It's freezing. Now, before you're thinking, Ron, you live in Southern California. Why are you bitching about the cold? Hear me out. All right. So it's cold outside. It's colder than usual here in Los Angeles, which I know is not cold compared to a lot of other places. However, here's the thing you have to keep in mind. A lot of the houses here are simply just not built for any type of cold. My house included. I live in an older house. The heater gets to one room in the house. It gets to one of the 3 bedrooms, and that bedroom is not mine. It's a different bedroom than mine. So basically, one room in the house is hot as hell when we turn on the heat. The rest of the house is just freezing. Like basically, when you turn on the heat at my house, the house gives itself a fever. That's what happens. It has a temperature but chills everywhere. So you basically can't escape the cold. I was excited that I got to drive to Santa Monica last night because I was like, oh, good. I can have my heat on. That is going to be, that'll be the warmest I get today. My heat will be on in my car. That's why I said to people, I was like, look, if you notice anybody going like 20 miles an hour on the roads, it's not because they're drunk or anything like that. It's because they know they're going to a freezing place, and they just want to be as warm as possible for as long as they can. They know that the warmest place is their car, so they're just going to milk it. They're like, this is going to be, that's how I was. I was like, well, it's going to be cold as soon as I get out of here. So get your heat on with Ron. I love it. It's suspiciously hot in New York today. Well, I'll trade you for a little bit. It's suspiciously cold in Los Angeles today because something crazy is going down, right? So anyway, that's why it's cold all the time. That's why it's cold all the time. So when it's cold outside, you can't accept it. You can't escape it. So you're just like freaking cold. Like you just gotta be cold, you know? Joe points out the freezing temps in California is actually threatening the crops. Well, screw the crops, Joe. I'm cold. No, I'm just kidding. That's interesting. I did not know that. But yeah, that's pretty messed up. I mean, a lot of the a lot of the produce here is clearly not meant for freezing temps. So now that sucks. And we're getting closer to some heavy harvest seasons, right? I mean, summer is coming. Obviously, well, it's still a little bit away, so we're not quite out of February yet. But still, like, if crops are freezing, that could have some effects. Climate change is a Chinese hoax, though, right? Oh, boy. So anyway, enough about the weather. Let's get into some news. You guys have already sent me stuff. And by the way, for anyone, this is your first time, the best way to get me an article, tweet it to me at LiveTime. At Ron Placone is my Twitter handle. Just tweet me an article. YouTube folks. So my moderator Pasta is not here today. So he won't be in the chat today. He had to work. So it's just me. I will try to bounce between the live me chats and the YouTube chats the best I can. Live me chats are a lot easier for me because because I can just see them live on my phone. Like, it just pops up on my phone, so I can look at it, I can see it. And Joe or anyone else, if you guys want to tell me some of the stuff that's going on in the YouTube chat, that's cool. If you want to send some stuff to me via live me, that works as well. But I will be what's up, Andrew? So I will be checking the YouTube the best that I can. All right, let's jump into it. You guys have sent me some stuff already, so we got to do it. We got to do it. A lot of memes. A lot of memes. I had the place pointed out where it was like the first news article, and somehow I lost it because it's Tuesday, guys. This is like Monday for me, you know. This is like my Monday for this show. All right. Let's see. All right, Marcus sends me this. KFC chicken shortage will hit UK stores all week. All right, what's going on? More bad news for KFC fans. I will point this out. If you are a KFC fan, please reconsider. Honestly, please reconsider. They are so the way that they treat their chickens is so painfully unethical. They put those chickens through so much unnecessary pain. Also, they can save a buck. And you can look up the details on that. The stuff that they do to their chickens is beyond fucked up. And it's like the least ethical way you can do it. So, I've refused to eat at KFC for years. And it's not a hard line to draw in the sand, quite frankly, because their food is terrible. So really, it's like, I refuse to eat at KFC. That's not that hard of a commitment, though. It really isn't. But hey, it's something. And yeah, so if you do eat at KFC, I urge you to reconsider. I urge you to look up some information on how they actually process their meat. And not only is it terrible what they do to those chickens, it's also really terrible for humans to be consuming. So yeah, I strongly no. It is it's different than a lot of places, actually, Andrew. It's significantly different. It's significantly worse. More bad news for KFC fans. A chicken shortage that has closed hundreds of stores in the UK could last all week. All week, you won't be able to get your really mediocre fried chicken that sometimes you might get a rat or a paper towel roll. They have fried both of those things. Rats, paper towel rolls. I won't let my kids eat it. Good, Kimmy. It's gross. It's pretty messed up. The fast food chain was forced to shut restaurants down across the country after a logistics snafu hit chicken deliveries. As many as 800 out of 900 KFC locations were closed on Monday. About 450 remain closed by late afternoon local time on Tuesday. Each day, more deliveries are being made. However, we expect the disruption to some restaurants to continue over the remainder of the week, meaning some will be closed and others operating with a reduced menu or shortened hours. In a message posted on its UK Twitter account, KFC said, "Our teams are working round the clock to reopen all restaurants." Oh, God. And they make really shitty puns. Another reason to not eat there. They make really bad puns. DHL said Monday that a number of deliveries had been incomplete or delayed because of operational issues. We just accidentally fried up a bunch of rats again. Shit, we're sorry. We don't even know exactly what went down here. We don't even know exactly what went down on this place. QSL is a food logistics provider that has been working with KFC since 2011. Did not immediately respond for comment. So here's the joke that KFC posted on their Twitters, the KFC UK and Ireland. Some chickens have crossed the road. The rest are waiting at a pelican crossing. But the good news is we set up a page on our website so you can check where the nearest open restaurant is. We're updating this as regularly as we can. And here we go. They used the bad pun a second time. Our teams are working round the clock to get the breast back up and running as soon as possible. Well, all this article talks about is what KFC is going through. It doesn't really say what's going on, why they're not getting their chicken out there. I'm going to say because if we knew the real answer to that, everybody would be real fucking grossed out. And they probably don't want the public to know. That's my guess. That's a guess. I'm throwing that out there based on what KFC does. And Jesse points out they're very proud of that clucking joke. So, you know, I don't know that for sure, but that's my guess. Yeah, we don't have enough time to get into all the stuff KFC does. I urge you to Google it, find out what they're really doing. They are the worst of the worst. And I know a lot of meat processing plants out there are not good. I know that. And, you know, I try to do my legwork. But KFC is the worst of the worst of the worst. And not only is it morally repulsive what they do, but it's also morally repulsive. It's also terrible for you. Like, it's terrible for you. All right. So, okay. Rob Reiner. Somebody tweeted me Rob Reiner. Darius, this is from Darius. Rob Reiner's problem is thinking patriotism is good and not a virtue of the vicious. Oscar Wilde would considerably disagree with Meathead. Oscar, I guess, are you referring to Rob Reiner as Meathead? I don't know what that means. Oscar Wilde would probably disagree with him. Also, he must think that the GOP can be patriots. What country do you think we're living in, Rob? It's called socialism, or excuse me, it's called capitalism. Try socialism. Let's see. So this is a Twitter thread from Rob Reiner, who, as far, I try not to pay attention to him. You know, how much longer do we have to put up with a mentally ill sociopath when the fucked up psyche of the leader of the free world comes before the horrific deaths of innocent children? It's time for GOP patriots to stand up and end this sickness. What the hell kind of platitude bullshit is that? Rob, do you really entertain this fantasy? And calling it a fantasy is being generous. This fantasy that the GOP will do anything about gun control. They won't. Are you kidding? Of course they won't. Democrats won't either. But the GOP, holy shit. And all we get when it comes to weapons control and gun control is lip service. Because the NRA has our government by the balls. So the only time you hear gun control being brought up in like a rational light is during the Democratic debates in the primaries when they're bragging about who has the lowest grade from the NRA, which is great, but then that doesn't translate into the general. When they're talking to the base, they're like, yeah, we're going to crack down on gun control because you guys want it. When it gets to the general, gun control, not brought up. And if it is brought up, it's all about the Republican using it as a political tool against the Democrat. And then the Democrat caves. That is how it happens. That is how it will continue to happen. The idea of common sense gun policy in this country, is it desperately needed? Yes. Holy shit. And there's tons of things we can do. Like, there's so many things we can do that would make everybody happy for the most part. Like there's tons of things we can do. Would it be perfect? No. Australia's system is not perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better. Same with Switzerland. Like, there's so many things, and we could kind of emulate a little bit of each. You know, and I've talked about some of the solutions I think would work. I think, first of all, we need to end the sales at gun shows. We need to end the sale of magazines. We need to have heavy restrictions on the different types of weapons you can get, semi-automatics and stuff like that. They need to go away. Also, we need to have extensive background checks. We need to have universal background checks. We need to have classes. I think we need to have references. We need to have reference letters. We need to have screenings on a regular basis. And I think we need to have heavy regulations on ammunition. There needs to be heavy regulation on the amount of ammunition you can get. There needs to be licensing. Chromatic Tree points that out. We have more guns than people by a lot. Jesse points out that's just creepy. It is very creepy. I mean, there's so many things we can do where, you know, if people want to have a basic gun used for hunting, you know, the government's not taking that away. Or if somebody wants to have something reasonable for self-defense, should an intruder come in, the government's not taking that away. I mean, I don't like guns in general. Like, I'm not a fan of guns. However, I realistically know that the idea of us completely outlawing them is just an unrealistic solution. It would probably cause a civil war in this country. So, you know, I'm for, let's try to come up with some solutions that could work. There should also be a wait time for 2 weeks at least. I agree. Yes, there should, because it's going to take time to process all the above. If you have references, if you have a mental health screening, if you have a class, yeah, there's going to be a period of time. But we do this extensive thing for your car. You know, a civil war where one side has guns. Exactly, Chromatic Tree. Most countries don't have school shootings. We've had 18 so far in 2018. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah, I mean, and what's the difference between us and all those other countries? It's not that they don't have issues with violence. They still have issues with violence. They still, I mean, they have problems with I mean, Australia has a high report of knife violence and stuff like that. I would say we are inherently among the more violent, if not the most violent countries. Australia has had 0 mass shootings since '96. Perfect record. Okay, cool, man. Yeah, you sent that 3 times. I got it. It's a different world outside of California for sure. It's a different world outside of the U.S. for sure. But I know what you mean. So I don't know what Rob Reiner hopes to accomplish with this tweet. He got 14,000 retweets and 48,000 likes. That's pretty good. How much longer do we have to put up with a mentally ill sociopath when the fucked up psyche of the leader of the free world comes before the horrific deaths of innocent children? It's time for GOP patriots to stand up and end this sickness. And this is what annoys me too. Is this guy really trying to hint that gun violence was not an issue before fucking Trump got here? I'm sorry. Like, are you insane? We're the most violent first world country, I believe. Probably. Yeah. I mean, I'd say we gotta be, we're up there. We gotta be first. I'm thinking. I'd be shocked if somebody who would beat us? Who would be like, well, actually, this first world country is more violent than the United States. You know, Denmark. They're pissed off over there. Denmark, you have no idea. They don't have guns. But, man, if you look at in Ireland, they beat the shit out of people with hurling sticks. I don't know if you knew that. They're really freaking, they get like, here's mine. They get it. And they just like, can you guys see my hurling stick? And they're like, It's actually good. You know, I bring this to the gym, and I do get some weird looks. I bring this to the gym with me sometimes Because sometimes if the gym itself is open, I'll run some drills with my hurling stick and my scimitar. That's what the ball's called. I'll run them in the gym. So I do that. And or if the gym is being occupied with a class, I'll go to this field a little bit away from my gym, and I'll play hurling. And you know what? It's not a field. It's part of the campus for a seminary. So it's like this seminary, but they have a field there, and I just go hurling there. And nobody's ever messed with me. I have no business being there. I'm not a seminary student. Surprise, surprise. But I just go and I hurl there, and nobody messes with me. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we got to be number one, Jesse. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, tweets like this get on my nerve because really, gun violence wasn't an issue before Trump got here. School shootings weren't an issue before Trump got here. I mean, so many people, and Rob Reiner's one of them, so many people that have just disconnected like from any amount of rationality and just want to, because they dislike Trump that much. I dislike Trump too. Trump's terrible. His policies are awful. You know what his policies are, though? They're GOP policies. That's what they are. They're GOP policies. They're GOP policies minus subtlety. So this whole thing about GOP patriots ain't going to happen, Rob. People get shot and they do nothing about it. Steve Scalise got shot, did nothing about it. Didn't change one iota on gun control. Oh, yeah, Joe points out, I must have imagined all those mass shootings that happened before 2017. You and I both, sir. And I'm going to let my co-host Lucy in. Welcome back, Lucy. It is Pet Appreciation Day. All right, so we got to move on. Thank you for sharing that, though, Darius. I appreciate it. Columbine was a weird dream. Yeah, it was so weird they made a film about it. We all had the weird dream. This is from Abby. Trump's budget would end student loan forgiveness program. This is a nice transition. See, instead of making these bullshit platitude tweets hinting that gun violence wasn't an issue until Trump showed up, which makes you sound really freaking dumb, let's actually talk about some policies that are terrible. Like this one. Trump's budget would end student loan forgiveness program. The proposal sharply curtails income-based loan repayment plans. It would also scratch the public service loan forgiveness program and embolden the government to go after students who don't pay their loans. Higher education faces massive changes under President Trump's spending plan. The proposal unveiled Monday would sharply curtail income-based loan repayment plans. It would scratch the public service loan forgiveness program and embolden the government to go after students who don't pay their loans and cut funding for federal work study in half. Changes to loans would apply to borrowing after July 1st, 2019, not including those loans provided to borrowers to finish their current education. And this isn't even as brutal as he wanted to come down on students. Keep in mind what he wanted to do. What he also wanted to do, he wanted to tax the tuition remission of graduate students as taxable income. And what does that mean? I know you guys know it, but just to go through it. So when you go into a graduate program, in a lot of cases, you get a funding package. And what that funding package is first of all, you get free tuition. You don't have to pay tuition. You also get a living stipend to live on, and it's enough money to survive. It's not a lot of money. Typically, it is literally just enough money to live. So, and that's what you get. And what do you do in exchange for that? Well, in exchange for that, you are an asset to the department. You might do some teaching of undergrads. You might assist in research for members of the faculty. You're basically an assistant to the department. You're an asset to the department. You do your research, and that's the exchange, basically. And in exchange, you get to go to school for free, and you get a living stipend. So it's your job. more or less. I mean, typically in the summers, you have to get a job because you don't make very much money as a graduate student. My stipend was literally just enough to survive. Like, I made just enough money to pay my rent. And I did stand up on the side to help. Like the weekend stand up gigs helped get me through. And then in the summer, I would either do stand up full time or I would get a day job if I needed to. But anyway, Trump wanted to change it to tax that. The tuition part of it, he wanted to tax that. So say just, you know, my living stipend was $500 a month. This is just a for instance. Of course, it wasn't that low. That's insane. But let's say it was $500 a month. My tuition remission was $20,000 a year. I would be taxed on all that money. I would be taxed on my $500 a month plus my $20,000 a year would be considered income. So basically, I mean, it would make it almost impossible to go to grad school, in other words. That's what they wanted to do. And this points out that graduate students will be paying significantly more. The budget plan would also narrow the number of income-driven repayment plans. And it's ending. And you know what? We could eliminate student loan debt in this country. We really could. I mean, during the campaign, people mocked Jill Stein for her plans to end student debt. But now people are really looking into it, and they're like, oh, this is actually a good idea. And maybe it's because they're seeing how brutal the alternative is. Gee, and isn't that interesting? When you mock the person who makes ending student loan debt a priority, when you mock the person who stands for free college, when you mock that person and you prop up the person that wants to do nothing about all the above, and then the right-wing demagogue wins who wants to harm education as much as possible, who wants to come down on the least powerful among us, this is what you get. No more student loan forgiveness. We're going to go after you. We're going to take it out of your taxes. This is what you get. And we haven't been talking about this because, as Joe points out, Russia. One of the many reasons we don't talk about this. Thank you for sharing that. Let's see. Are they going to say the president's proposal is subject to approval by Congress and is likely to be modified by legislators? Well, we'll see what happens then. You know, I mean, before, when he had that thing going on for grad students, they did manage to stop that. We'll see if they manage to stop any of this, but I doubt it because people haven't really been talking about it much. Let's see here. I have a ton of stuff that you guys have sent, so let me just start to get to it. If you have not sent an article already, please refrain from doing so because we have a lot more to get through, and we only have about 25 more minutes. A little more than that. We'll go a little late because we started a few minutes late. We'll go a little past 11. School now. What does that mean? Pennsylvania church encourages worshipers to bring assault rifles to midweek ceremony. Holy shit. This is from Donald. Parents are expressing concern after a church announced it will hold a ceremony next week, and worshipers are encouraged to bring assault rifles with them. And the ceremony will be just down the road from an elementary school. What could possibly go wrong? What a fantastic idea. The ceremony in Wayne County was planned before the mass shooting at a high school in Florida last week. Oh, that changes everything. They scheduled this before the latest mass shooting. They were like, look, it's okay for us to do this. Enough time's passed. It's been a few days. Clearly the problem is solved. We have no problems with mass shootings anymore. We're okay now. So we can have our gun orgy at a church. Because what would Jesus, if Jesus would have had a gun, he would have stopped all of it from happening. He would have just went Rambo on those people trying to mess with him. And then he would have flown over the crowd with his AK-47. He wasn't one to turn the other cheek or anything. How do you justify this? Sanctuary Church and Rod of Iron Ministries are one and the same, run by the Moon family from South Korea, who started the controversial Unification Church. Church leaders state that the state police wanted to know what ceremony next week involving AR-15 style rifles is all about. Oh, that's good that the police were curious. That's good that the cops were curious about, hey, we're the police and we just want to know why you want to have a gun ceremony in church. We feel like that could be some weird cult shit that leads to a bunch of people waking up in your freezer later, and we kind of want to know what that's all about. Look at how scared Lucy is. Lucy's like, what the fuck? They're doing a gun orgy at a church? What's wrong with you people? You call us the inferior creatures? Guess how many cats had a gun orgy at a church, Ron? Fucking 0. That's what Lucy's saying right now. That's what she's saying right now. By the way, she has a really cool dialogue coming up, I got to tell you guys. All right, so why are they doing this stupid-ass things? Oh, here we go. Here's how they explain their bullshit. In Revelations, according to this church, well, I shouldn't give them air quotes. There's all kinds of churches just as fucked up as this. You're never going to convince people by making fun of them. I'm making fun of people that have a gun orgy at a church. Yes, I am. And I'm a comedian. I'm not, I'm not a lawmaker. I'm not a policymaker. I'm a comedian. That is what I will always be. If I ever stop being that, it's your guys' job to tell me so I can fucking quit. That's what I am. That's what I'll always be. And if you want to have a gun orgy at a church, I'm going to fucking make fun of you. And the fact that we don't have gun policy in this country ain't because of me. That ain't because of me. Go look at the NRA. Go look at the politicians that are bought. All right. So Moon is the son of the late Sun Myung Moon. Would you go to a gun? I mean, I know some of you guys, you support gun rights and stuff like that. And I don't even know what that means, because I'm not calling for an outlaw of the Second Amendment either. I'm saying actually enforcing it. That whole well-regulated militia part. I'm saying we enforce that part. And I've given a lot of solutions that I think would work. Not only that, it would create jobs too. If we had extensive background checks, if we had required classes, if we had regulations on the amount of ammunition people can get, if we had regulations on the types of guns people could get, if they were registered, if registrations were renewed, kind of like a car, if there were references from people in the community, if there were required mental health screenings, yeah, it'd go a long fucking way. It'd go a long way. We can borrow elements of Australia. We can borrow elements of Switzerland. But you're right, because we still have guns on the streets because I'm making fun of a gun orgy. You're right. The Moon family also owns Car Arms, a gun maker that moved to Pike County. So they own guns. These people, they own a gun manufacturer. This is the biggest bullshit. This is the biggest bullshit. This is a church that pays 0 taxes. They own a gun manufacturer. And they use the book of Revelation to justify having a gun orgy in their church. That's what they do. Revelation talks about the returning Christ ruling with the rod of iron. So that's how they're rod of iron. That's how they're interpreting it. In the Bible, a book that was written years and years ago, was passed down a bunch of times, was translated and retranslated, and says a bunch of fucked up shit. It's if you eat shrimp, you'll die. You can't blend fabrics, and it's cool to fuck your cousins. All of that is in the Bible. And I've read that book cover to cover, because YOLO. But I've read that book cover to cover. There's some very weird shit in there. There's also some very beautiful parables and life stories. Yeah, but that's exactly what it is. It's a book. And if you don't read the book with a historical context, and you read the Bible with the reading comprehension of a 6-year-old, that's on you. But if you do that, you can make a lot of fucking money, like these people that produce guns and have a gun orgy in their church and pay zero taxes doing all the above. But I'm wrong because I'm making fun. Are you fucking kidding me? This is what a joke this is. How can you? This is like the nth degree of corruption. They are double dipping monetarily. This is all a scheme. I bet you anything. The guy that runs this, what's his name? Whoever, what the fuck's the guy? The Moon family. I bet you anything. They laugh their asses off every night before bed. You think they actually believe this bullshit? No, they're thrilled. They're like, thank goodness that we were able to corner a market where we can make and manufacture guns and people buy them. Then we have a church dedicated to guns and people are that ridiculous that they migrate to this bullshit. We have our gun orgy rallies on Sunday because, you know, WWJD. And then people fucking give us more money. Holy shit. I got in the wrong business. Lucy's excited. She's like, I want to go open a gun orgy church in Pennsylvania. I want to open, we can make millions. She wants to sell out. That's what she's like, let's go open a gun orgy church, Ron. Come on. Let's go. We'll make the guns. You can make the guns. You're good with your hands, right? And I'm like, no, I'm actually not. Jesse points out it's the Joel Osteen strategy, but with guns. They've one-upped him. They've one-upped him. Oh, man, it's wrong for me to make fun of this. It's really wrong. I shouldn't make fun of this. It's really bad of me. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm We're not going to have gun policy tomorrow because I'm making fun of this. The Trumps would be like, Ron made fun of a gun orgy church in Pennsylvania. I was gonna sign gun legislation, but I heard Ron Placone making fun of gun orgy churches in Pennsylvania. And I want us to have more gun orgy churches. So instead, I'm signing an ordinance that Ron is outlawed from making fun of gun orgy churches. But gun orgy churches will be tax exempt. Churches are already tax exempt, Trump. Oh, really? I didn't fucking... He might not know that. Would you be shocked if he didn't know that? I would not be. All right. So anyway, that's gun orgy churches. Hey, man, if gun orgy churches are your thing, do you all like fire it and orgasm at the same time? Like, how does it work? I want to attend one of these because I'm curious to know how it all works. So I'm going to have to book some shows in Pennsylvania, attend a gun orgy church, and I'll be like, how do we do this? They'll be like, sir, why don't you have pants on? And I'm like, I thought this was the gun orgy church. And they're like, it is, but we have coffee and donuts first, all right? We're civilized. Calm the fuck down. Oh, man. I'm so sorry I couldn't resist making fun of it, and now we're not going to have gun policy. I'm so sorry, you guys. It's my fault. Let's see here. George sends this. I know you guys aren't implying that. I'm just having a good time. All right. So this is from Donald. You sent two things. I'm going to do something from someone else so we can get as many people as possible to have a chance on the Get Your News On with Ron articles. All right. This is from Brian. This is from NPR. Nice, polite Republicans. We'll go ahead and get a Get Your News On with Ron retweet. I didn't even look at the fucking, oh shit. I got to get out of that habit of not looking at the headline before I like it and retweet it. Because some of you guys send me fucked up articles on purpose because you're like, Ron, this is fucked up. We gotta talk about it. But then when I like it and retweet it, people that don't know what this show is, they see me liking and retweeting an article and they're like, why the fuck did Ron like that and retweet it? And then I have to explain it later, which is fine. I've always explained it every time, and it's actually probably gotten more people turned on to this show. But yeah, I got to remember to do that, I guess is my point. Lucy's real excited. She's making a look. Lucy, you are going to end the show because today I saw that Pet Appreciation Day is trending on Twitter, and I'm a sucker for shit like that. All right, go ahead and judge me. I deserve it, but I'm a sucker for that. I am a true sucker. All right, here's Brian's article that I liked without looking. Trump administration wants to let insurers offer plans with fewer benefits. Good. Well, that's just like a news story. Clearly, I'm sharing it with the Get Your News On with Ron. Yeah, I don't need to give a disclaimer for that. People will know why I liked it and retweeted it. The Trump administration wants to allow insurance companies to offer more policies that have limited health benefits and can reject customers if they have pre-existing medical conditions. Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar says the plans, which don't meet the legal requirements for health insurance under the Affordable Care Act, will allow consumers. So basically, they're trying to roll back to what we had. There was Lucy. She couldn't wait. She couldn't wait. Here, let me make sure that didn't fuck up the camera. No, we're good. We're good. All right. It's one step in the direction of providing Americans with health insurance offers. No, you know what it is? It's going backwards. The one good thing the Affordable Care Act did do was it eliminate pre-existing conditions. That was a good thing. It also, it did provide some subsidies to the right people. It did do that. And it also eliminated predatory plans, or at least, I shouldn't say eliminated. That's a bit, it reduced predatory plans significantly, more so than we've ever seen. So the Affordable Care Act, which was a right-wing healthcare plan, yes. And the biggest silver lining about it was the public option. They gutted that part. But still, compared to what we had, it was still a step in the better direction. It was a baby step, but it was still a grossly overneeded baby step. So they want to go back even further than where we were at. And what do you get when you get a right-wing healthcare plan? What is the opposition going to do? They're going to come up with an anti-healthcare plan. And that's what this is. The Republicans hate healthcare. I mean, that's just all it is. So the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans is that the Democrats, on the surface at least, are for the idea of healthcare. That's how low the bar is. You have two parties. When it comes to healthcare, you have one party that hates healthcare. Another party that at least says we don't hate healthcare. And that's what you're choosing between. So you have one side that says, oh, we're going to do great things with healthcare, but our party fucking hates healthcare, so that probably means we're going to gut it. You have another party that says healthcare, universal healthcare is never going to happen. So what do you get? You get an anti-healthcare plan. Democrats seem to think baby steps is their Bible. It is their Bible, and it is a failed, shitty Bible. And in that Bible, it says you're not allowed to blend fabrics. It says you can't eat shrimp. It says you can bang your cousins. And it also says gun orgies every fucking Sunday. Oh, Democrat gun orgies. That's going to be my next. That's going to be the name of my album. Fuck it. I'm calling my album Democrat Gun Orgies. No, I'm not. That's too weird. Nobody will know what the fuck that means. It'll just be all of you that buy it. They'll be like, he fucking called his album Democrat Gun Orgies. All right. So the next presidential election is going to hinge on health care. Yeah, but you're going to get bullshit. I mean, you're going to get bullshit verbiage from both sides. Keep in mind, Trump doesn't really have any ideology one way or another. He's just listening to the Republicans that have his ear. Trump has no fucking clue. I mean, Trump at one point was like, why don't we just give everybody Medicare? Like, because a broken clock is right twice a day. So he actually, then they're like, your donors don't want that. And he was like, oh shit, okay. I didn't like, he's really not smart. Like he really isn't. He knows PR, but he's not a smart dude. That sounds like a death metal album. Well, what kind of album do you think I was making? Did you assume it was comedy? How do you know it's not a death metal album? I play shitty punk rock acoustic guitar. Medicare for all has caught fire. It will happen for sure. I think it's inevitable, yes. I'd love to see it happen as soon as 2020. And I hope you're right. I think there's still a lot of media cycles to happen between now and 2020. So I really don't know what the pulse is going to be like by then. But I hope you're right. The plans are meant to offer people limited coverage if they are between jobs or in need of insurance during a life transition. Blah, 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 blah. No, this is just an attempt to go back the way we were. Because one thing the insurance companies were mad at Obama for, even though he gave them a handout, even though Obama gave the insurance companies a handout. All right, Lucy, you have to stay until the show's over because we have one more article, and then it's Pet Appreciation Day, where I'm going to lift you up like the Lion King, and everyone's going to say hello. and you're just gonna love it. It's weird she stopped meowing when I started talking to her. Do you guys notice this? She's a smart cat. Now she went back at it. She's like, no, I'm bored with this show. You've really. She's like, look, Ron, that joke was funny the first time. You kept fucking doing it. We get it. Gun orgies. That was the theme this week. But fucking you used it, man. Like lightning was in a bottle. Now it's over. Stop beating the gun orgy thing to death. And I'm like, but it's fun to say gun orgies. And she's like, dude, come on, man. All right. So that's what she's saying. This is from Johnny. This is going to be our last article today. And then I'm going to do something quick for Pet Appreciation Day. And then we are going to dismount and go off into the crazy world that we live in, where there are gun orgies in central Pennsylvania. Should you want to go, and when you go into the gun orgy church, they'll be like, hey, if you know Ron Placone, thank him for making fun of us. Because they were gonna get gun control. They were this close to passing gun control. But then they were like, Ron Placone made fun of our gun orgies. And they were like, well, fuck, if he's making fun of gun orgies, we are not passing gun legislation. All right. So this is from Glenn Greenwald. This is from The Intercept. Who sent this to me? Johnny sends this. What's up, Johnny? All right. A consensus emerges. Russia committed an act of war on par with Pearl Harbor and 9/11. Should the U.S. response be similar? Holy fuck. Holy fuck. That's the consensus. And you know, I wish... I know some of you guys saw the Jill Stein video, I'd imagine. We talked about it over on the Jimmy Dore show. I didn't talk about it on this show because we don't do a Monday show. But, man, was that unreal. Was that unreal? Like the smears on her that came after and what she actually said in that interview. What actually happened in that interview was she fucking told the truth. And she called on MSNBC. And MSNBC admitted to everything she threw at them. And she said, you guys failed miserably during the election. You covered Trump's empty podium. You gave him billions in free airtime. You clearly were just going after ratings. They admitted to all. They were like, yeah, you're right, but we're not in Russia. That was their rebuttal. That was their rebuttal. Well, we're not in Russia. Like, what the fuck? A major news agency just admitted that, yeah, you're right. We're failing miserably. We're a compromised beyond repair entity that is doing a great disservice to the American people every day we are in existence. Every day that MSNBC exists, every day that CNN exists, every day that Fox News exists, a disservice is being done to this country. And they don't even care, as Marcelo points out, they don't even give a shit. And they'll openly admit to it. And what are the headlines? The headlines are Jill Stein loses her shit. She didn't, by the way. She didn't, by the way. She fucking explained to them what was going on, and she kept a smile on her face. I give her credit for not saying to that reporter, this is the dumbest fucking shit I ever had to talk about in my life. Oh, my God. And I'm not saying Jill Stein's perfect. She's not. But if you watch that interview, and then you see these headlines, I don't know how any rational thinking person could agree with those headlines. Could agree that that was a meltdown. What the fuck? I mean, I guess it was just clickbait. I probably shouldn't be. But, you know. In the wake of last week's indictments alleging that 13 Russian nationals and entities created fake social media accounts and they sponsor political events. And they, you know what? Does anybody know, does St. Petersburg, Russia have a Craigslist? Do they? Because I don't know. I'm thinking that maybe I need to hire 13 social media people in Russia to get me a Netflix special. I'm thinking if they can fucking sway a presidential election, they can get me a Netflix special, right? Like it's like, so I'm putting it out there. I need 13 people in Russia tweeting for me. And they control on Twitter or they can make a Facebook ad, just a Facebook ad. With my dumb face, there'll be a translator. Will the English be perfect? Maybe, maybe not. It might be seen up to 300 people. So I'm thinking I need to get 13. I can't pay a lot. I'll pay you mostly in appreciation. And according to some people, I'm the reason John Ossoff lost in Georgia. Some people blame me for that, which was freaking hilarious. So I think, yeah, I'll pay you guys in throwing an election of your choice. I'll just apparently I'm only powerful enough to throw congressional one. So you tell me a district, you tell me which way you want it thrown, and I'll throw it for you. I don't know how I threw the election for John Ossoff. It wasn't me that said, hey, don't live in the district and make a really shitty commercial that talks about nothing and looks like it was made in 1995. I didn't tell him to do that. I was like, hey, have no policy ideas. You'll fucking win that way. I didn't tell him to do any of that. But somehow he lost because of me. So, you pick a district. I'll throw the election however you want me to. In exchange, you get me a Netflix special. So I'll check Craigslist when this show's over. I don't know if St. Petersburg has a subsection or not, but I got to find out. Okay, so these actions not only constitute an act of war against the U.S., this is Glenn Greenwald talking about what the media has been saying, but one so grave that it is tantamount to Pearl Harbor and 9/11. Indeed, that Russia's alleged meddling is comparable to the most two devastating attacks in U.S. history. This has become a virtual cliche. This has become a xenophobic, gross, McCarthy-esque cliche. The claim that Russian meddling in the election is an act of war comparable to these events isn't brand new. John McCain said stuff like that. But in the last few days, the explosion of rhetoric has happened from politicians and journalists alike. So, yeah, they're literally beating the drums for World War III. And why are they doing that? Because they don't want the status quo to be threatened. And they know that it is being threatened because they know that people are really waking up to how fucked up this system is. And they don't like that. So they'd rather have, scapegoat another entity, which for the past year and a half and counting has been Russia. And honestly, I don't know when Russiagate's going to end. I don't know when we're going to have the Have You No Dignity ceremony moment. But I do have a theory now that I talked about on the Jimmy Dore show yesterday. I think it's going to have to be us that gives that fucking moment. I think it's going to have to be the independent media, the progressive media, that says enough's enough. This is not an investigation anymore. This is a McCarthy-esque smear. This is a fucking xenophobic psycho campaign. And we're on our way to World War III. I think it's up to us to draw that line in the sand. I don't think anyone else is. No one in power is going to do it. Nobody with power is going to do it. No one in the corporate media is going to do it. No matter how many people get fired, no one's going to do it. So, some of the people that haven't come around yet to, hey, there's a difference between investigating something and hysteria, and we crossed that line a long time ago. The people that have not come around yet, we really got to try to get them to come around because it's up to us to have that moment. Otherwise, this is just going to go on indefinitely, I think. I don't know when it's going to end. I don't know when it's going to end. But hopefully it doesn't lead to World War III. And Glenn Greenwald has an article hinting that it very well could. So, guys, let's end on a slightly lighter note. Trending on Twitter is Pet Appreciation Day. And you guys know I appreciate my pet. Here, let me go get her. Let me go get Lucy. Lucy will say hello. I don't think any of the American people want war with Russia. I don't think any of them do either. But I also don't think the powerful will let up on Russiagate, even if it does lead to war with Russia. I don't think most of the American people want any of the wars we're in, but we're in 8 of them anyway. So what the American people want, as far as whether we go to war or not, has zero impact, unfortunately. Public opinion does not matter. But anyway, Pet Appreciation Day. I said we'd end on a lighter note. I'm a man of my word. Lucy, come here. You have to, I know it's not in your contract. I know. I'm violating your terms and conditions. I know you've written an excellent dialogue. But Lucy, say hi to Lucy for Pet Appreciation Day. She waved, huh? That was a wave, sort of, wasn't it? Doesn't that look all right? Thank you, sweetie. She did not finish all of her food yet this morning. She is on her way to doing it. That's Lucy. It is Pet Appreciation Day. Lucy is my pet. She's going to be 12 this year. Yeah, Lucy's going to be 12. Still got a lot of spunk, like she still likes to play. She can't play the way she used to. She used to be able to just go all day, man. Like she wouldn't want to stop. And then when I would stop, she'd be like, what the fuck? We're stopping. And I'd be like, Lucy, I've been like waving this like stick thing with the mouse on it for like an hour. We got to stop. My arm's getting tired. Seriously. She's like, what the fuck, dude? Keep it up. And I'm like, now she'll still play. She'll be like, yeah, mouse thing. I remember this. And then she's like, fuck this. I'm tired. And I'm like, come on, Lucy. And she's like, I'm over it, dude. Move on. And I'm like, all right. So, you know, she slowed down a little bit. Totally reasonable for her age. But, you know, she's still got some spunk in her. She can still move pretty quick. My roommate Pasta thinks she'd be able to catch a woodpecker. I don't think she could at this point. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think she's looking at me. She's like, you don't believe in me? It's not that I don't believe in you. You haven't been a hunter in a long time, Lucy. You used to catch mice in your younger days. But, you know, you don't have to do that anymore. You're very domesticated. I provide all your food for you. I spoil you a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I kind of spoil you. I can't help it. You're just adorable. And because of that, I don't think you're quite the huntress that you used to be. And that's okay. You don't have to be. So I don't know if you can catch a woodpecker. And I don't want to find out. I want you. There's that skunk that lives on the driveway that I've named Wesley. I don't know if you and Wesley would get along. And if Wesley would spray you, that'd be really fucked up. I don't know what that has to do with. All right. So anyway, guys, we are totally out of time. So thank you guys so much for being part of this. This has been Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. How can you support this show? Are you asking? Well, I'll tell you. You can go to patreon.com/Ron Placone. You can pay at whatever level you're comfortable with, and you get all the same shit. There are no tiers. The suggested amount is $5. You can give less than that. You can give more than that. Doesn't matter. You give whatever you can, and you get an exclusive podcast every week. You get exclusive writings. You get exclusive videos. You get dialogues that Lucy writes. She has one coming out on Wednesday. Also, when I'm coming to your town and I'm announcing more tour dates by the day, when I come to your town, it's free for you. What do I got coming up? Well, March 2nd and 3rd, I'm headlining the Yoo-Hoo Room at Flappers Comedy Club. If any of you guys want to go to that, let me know. I will get you in, but I'm headlining at Flappers. Come on out. There's Friday night and Saturday night. Also, Graham Elwood and I are going on tour May 9th. We are going to be at the Tempe Improv in Tempe, Arizona. May 10th, we are going to be in Lake Havasu, Arizona. May 12th, we are going to be at the Comedy Palace in San Diego, California. That venue for Lake Havasu, by the way, is Pennington's Pub. And May 11th, we're hoping to be in Vegas. We've not confirmed a date there yet, but we're hoping to go to Vegas, baby. Joe points out, tune in tomorrow. Stephen Jaffe is going to be my guest tomorrow. You guys know the drill when we have guests. You guys come up with some questions, and then we're going to take your questions. So Stephen Jaffe, who is he? He's running to primary out Nancy Pelosi, and he's running for her seat. So he's a candidate. He's a very smart dude. He's working really hard. Nancy Pelosi needed to go yesterday. So tune in. Get your questions ready for Jaffe. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. This has been Get Your News On with Ron. We do this every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time with Stephen Jaffe. Until then, stay safe. I'll send you out with this song. Get your news on with Ron. I want to know what's going on. We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. I want to know what's going on. Let's hope they don't start World War III, especially today, right? Read me an article at Placone. We'll go through it together. We'll make it our own. Get your news on with Ron. I want to know what's going on. Get our news on today. Yeah. This is Get Your News On with Ron. Thank you guys so much. I love you all very much. You are awesome. Democratic gun orgies. I don't know. You guys are awesome. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone, ronplacone.com. Find out when I'm coming to a city near you. Patreon.com/Ron Placone if you are so able. I love you all very much. I will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.